if halacha is a coin toss, some will be better, some will be worse, nothing will happen, then that's true for anything. The halachic rate has to be better than 50-50.
God gave us free choice.
I know God did give us free choice, but it's up to us. You're all right. Then what is the benefit of halacha in terms of making a mensch? This is the question. And so, look, I was called by a local yeshiva to speak to students on cheating on their tests. I went to yeshiva. There were two or three in my whole class who didn't cheat. Joseph Kalushka and I and somebody else. I'm serious. Is that interesting? Joseph. And I got Joseph to stop. I'm only kidding. For the record, I got him as a joke. Bet you didn't know this. He was a Republican 10 years before I was. Well, that is his speaking into it. Okay, yes, please. Yes, the young gentleman.
To quote rabbis, you got your talk with Hebrew phrases from the Torah and how that the pig says, I'm kosher, look at my hoof. So it's a great insult to me that the OU actually brought you here, because, when I go to work, it's my personal feeling, something genuinely. I'm under attack when I go to work, I'm under attack when I listen to the radio, I'm under attack everywhere. Why couldn't you here to get an attack here also, This should be a exclusive thing for the OU. Not that I've established how much I respect you. Do you agree with me? Do you understand everything? I don't understand everything. I don't understand how the radio works. The radio. I don't know what Europe, what's the meaning of Europe. I don't understand every field that I do, but I still read it, You mentioned that maybe we should sit down, because when we stand, we always think of sitting down. Then maybe we should not fast on Yom Kippur, because all we do is think about food. Where do we draw the line? The need or the epitome, what goes wrong with someone who doesn't follow halacha? Because once you start questioning what's good and what's not good, and once you start questioning, whether this rabbi was right or not right, and you bring the whole rabbi to rabbinic concept, under attack, you just lose all of it.
Okay, I'll let you answer the part of why did you invite me. He feels that, and I didn't take it personally. Listen, if I took everything personally, I would be in the psychiatric ward of the UCLA hospital. But he said it's like a pig standing up to say, look, I am kosher because I have split hooves. That's the analogy, and I know you're not calling me a pig. I understand that. But that would be the analogy, and he comes from chizuk and not from being attacked. The only thing I'll say is I didn't attack you. God knows I didn't attack you when I come here from love, and you know that, otherwise I shouldn't come. So we're both in the same battle by and large within Jewry and American life. We have theological, perhaps, differences on where the role of halakha in the rabbinic realm, but that's compared to the work that we're doing, and the number of people, as you pointed out, that I am thrilled to have become Orthodox through my work is a non-issue. And I'm thrilled about my own son, for God's sake. You think I am bothered by the fact that he's Orthodox and wants to be a rabbi? It's the greatest compliment and if anything, it affirms that by teaching him Torah is from God, he put two and two together in his way and came out this way, and he will be terrific in Orthodox life. I am just thrilled with him. So this is a non-issue to me. But to answer a couple of specifics. Well, people are standing, so they're thinking of sitting, therefore stop fasting, and therefore on fasting they're thinking the whole time of eating. That's not true as a rule. I find fasting on Yom Kippur unbelievably powerful. Yes, I don't think, of course I think, they passed, in the shtibel I went to as a kid, they passed the smelling salts. But people knew this was l'shem shamayim. Standing is not l'shem shamayim, that's my whole point. If it said, v'tamdu kimat kol yom kippur, if that was a mitzvah, then I would have to do it. But it is not. And Rabbi Adelstein said in his own shul, he told the people, it's not a halacha to stand during a niyula. But it is. But people feel social pressure to do so. Unless you're aged or in a wheelchair, you feel you have to, and it has that. All I'm saying is And I know the argument. As soon as you drop one, the whole edifice falls. But that's what the ultra-frum, if you're not ultra-frum, could say to you. I asked an ultra-frum rabbi that I know, do you wake up every night like the Shulchan Aruch says, and do you mourn the destruction of the base mikdash? That's in the Shulchan Aruch. Do you believe masturbation is murder? That's in the Shulchan Aruch. I mean, there's no end to this. There are dangers in both ways. There are dangers if you drop, and there's dangers if you don't drop. And so you have to have enough emunah. That's the whole point. I'm saying enough bitachon, that if you do change something rabbinic, you are not violating what the Ritzon of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the only argument I'm making. So you take it from here.
It's one of these times that you want to invoke the oldest of Jewish jokes. You know, you're right, you're also right. I would not completely dismiss the attitude of the last questioner. It comes from a good place. You cannot gainsay the value of what we call emunah pshuta, of believing from the depth of your heart. Torah is emes, Moshe emes, Torah so emes. And that our Masorah is valid, and I needn't question beyond that. I would not for a second disparage anybody who comes from such a place. I would also argue that it is one of the hardest things to transmit in an open society. It does far better behind some closed walls, and none of us live behind those walls. For us, we are a community that does have to ask questions, that does have to examine our interaction with other people, and therefore inviting Dennis today, I think, was one of the wisest moves we could have made. I also think that to 90% of the people in this room, either they'll listen to your challenges, Dennis, and say, that's ridiculous, I know the difference, in which case nothing is lost. I'll say, that's a good question, and I know exactly where I have to go to find the answer. Baruch Hashem. Lo Alam Yisrael, we have people who can give answers to all of those questions, and if you have those questions, then you deserve answers and should go for them. And I forgot the rest of what I was going to say.
I want to add something that you can now use by having had me to Reform friends. Reform does not invite me. Conservative did. I spoke at the Rabbinic Assembly Convention in Houston. They differed with me, especially on the same-sex marriage issue. But that's fine. They invited me. You invited me. Reform. And you know why Reform? This is so fascinating. And I go to a Stephen S. Wise, which is a Reform shul. It's a minyan, a special minyan, and it's if you went in there, you'd think it's conservative, but you wouldn't go in there. By the way, my parents went in. Interestingly, my parents did go for my younger son's bar mitzvah. And they loved it. And they have been Orthodox for all 88 of their 88 years. So it's a very interesting reaction, both to their credit and to my Armenians' credit. But in any event, you have exhibited by having me here greater strength of conviction and greater openness of mind than so-called liberal Jews. And why won't Reform have me? This is what's so fascinating. Because of my politics. Not because of my Judaism, not because of my theology, because of my politics. Because as you move leftward in Jewish life, politics is religion. For most Jews outside of Orthodoxy, not all, most, liberalism is their Torah. That's very important to understand. So a Jew who is a Republican is an utter apikoros. They are as frum as you are. To understand your fellow Jew, your fellow non-Orthodox liberal Jew, you must understand they are as frum as you are, but their religion isn't Judaism as much as it is secular liberalism. That's what needs to be understood. You have the ability to be more open. I gave the example, the same thing, this is general, liberals think they're open-minded. It is so untrue, it is one of the great myths of our civilization. I was invited by a Christian evangelical radio station 20 years